welcome back to OneDeepVoid. If you've enjoyed our journeys into the void, don't forget to subscribe and hit like. It truly supports our channel. Tonight we're sharing a chilling happening sent in by one of our subscribers. What started as a simple game unleashed a gateway to uninvited presences. So settle in, as this is one of the most terrifying anecdotes ever shared with us, and I believe it will be for you too. Let's get started. It was the night of December 4th, 2003, a Saturday. I remember it well. We organized a small gathering for my friend Olivia's birthday with her closest friends. Everything was going well in a pleasant atmosphere. Truth be told, the number of guests wasn't very large. We were about 30 people in total. But I remember around 1 or 2 in the morning, Ava, another friend of mine, suggested Olivia open the gifts she had received, since only about 8 of us were left. Amidst laughter, she opened them one by one, until it was time to open the gift that Ava had brought her. We were all quite surprised, as at first we all thought it was a simple board game. But no, it was an Ouija board. Supposedly, playing with an Ouija board, one makes contact with beings from beyond, so most of us made a gesture of displeasure. But Ava told us to calm down, that she knew a lot about these things and that everything would be fine, that not all spirits are bad. As we discussed it, time passed and 3 people decided to leave, arguing that playing with the Ouija board was a very foolish thing to do. And truthfully, I agreed with them, but my curiosity was too great. How could it be possible to communicate with spirits through a simple board? It was around 3 or 4 in the morning when my friends placed the Ouija board on a small table. Everyone sat around it, illuminated by some candles. Ava was very well prepared. Once again, they urged me to play, but I refused. I felt that I was already risking too much by just being there. There were 5 of us in total: Olivia, Ava, Sophia, Matthew, and me. I must say, I felt safer hearing that my friend Matthew also chose to stay just as an observer, and made everyone promise that if anything strange happened, we would stop playing immediately. A few moments passed and absolutely nothing happened. The planchette didn't move. For those who don't know, the planchette is a small triangular piece that is placed on the board and indicates, letter by letter, what the spirit is supposedly trying to say. And since it wasn't moving, it meant there was no spirit in contact with us. For a moment I was relieved. Surprisingly, after a few more seconds, it began to move. Everyone started asking it questions, even about things only we knew, but the spirit answered them with great certainty. It can be said that everything was going well until then, but that night something terrible happened. They asked it about the true cause of death of an acquaintance of ours, about whether there were other spirits besides him near us. Then they asked other questions that, well, I think was the worst thing to do, asking whether it was a good or evil spirit. After a few moments, the planchette indicated, yes. Suddenly, a door that was situated behind us slammed shut, and Sophia thought she heard someone call her name, but I certainly didn't hear anything. What I am sure of is that the candle I was holding started to vibrate, and as a result, I dropped it on the floor. I tried to leave the place, and everyone tried to stop me, but I didn't listen. I managed to hear Ava telling me that I couldn't just leave like that, as they had to say goodbye to the spirit first. Overcome with panic, I ignored her words, but from what I could tell, everyone else stayed there. I remember that I didn't hear from my friends for the next few days. Later, I found out that things worsened after I left. They told me that the spirit was asked its name, to which it responded with a very strange and hard-to-pronounce name. I'm sorry that I can't tell you what it was, but not even they could remember it. They also told me that leaving there was the best thing I could have done, since by not being directly involved in the game, the risk I ran by leaving was lesser. As I mentioned, one of the most important rules of the Ouija is that you cannot leave the site until the entity allows you to go and it says goodbye. As I understand it, that spirit was not allowing them to leave. Perhaps one of the strangest things is that no one noticed the things that others were perceiving. Matthew explained he heard footsteps running towards them, but none of the others noticed, so he couldn't stand the situation and fainted. Moreover, in an unusual manner, Sophia started laughing hysterically while looking towards the patio, exactly through the door that had slammed a few moments before. She also collapsed to the floor. The rest affirmed they hadn't seen anything there. Olivia said she heard footsteps on the roof and some howling, like that of an animal, and likewise, no one else was aware of that. Ava clearly heard a scream in the distance and felt someone push her backward, and well, from what I know, it was at that point when everyone ran out without properly ending the game. It may seem strange, but you might think, as I did, that it was all just collective paranoia. The perfect proof of this is that no one was aware of what the others were experiencing, and each person interpreted the events in their own way. Now, nearly 20 years after that night, I believe that everything that happened with my friends was not merely a coincidence, since of the 5 people who were there during the game that day, only 2 of us are alive. Matthew, about a month later, began to suffer terrible headaches and a sudden weight loss that ultimately took his life. Doctors were unable to accurately diagnose an illness. Honestly, this terrified us all. Without even communicating with each other, we all came to blame the Ouija board. Olivia was murdered by her boyfriend a few months later. It's strange because he seemed to be a good man. I don't know what could have happened between them. From that day on, Sophia was not well mentally. She occasionally experienced bouts of laughter and hysteria, similar to what she had suffered that night. As a result, her family moved her to another city for treatment. Unfortunately, I learned a few years later that she had committed suicide. Ava and I share the same fate, as we started to experience the same mental torture. In my case, I began by hearing a voice calling me. Later, I started to see shadows with strange shapes, although some have humanoid forms. I must say that I have managed to get used to this over time, but there is something that does puzzle me. There is one that particularly allows itself to be seen for longer. It's strange. I usually recognize it because it appears to be a very tall man. My guess is about 6 feet tall and very thin. Additionally, as strange as it may seem, I can never see his arms. It's as if he doesn't have any, nor can I make out his features, and I've tried to record it, but I've never been successful. I don't know if someone who listens to my story can tell me why, but every time I see that man, my ears get plugged and my muscles tense up. It's as if he exerts strong pressure on me. I am overwhelmed with fear every time I see him, and though I can't explain how, he vanishes the moment I blink. There is no specific moment when I can see him. It is always sporadic. I can go days or even months without seeing him, but when I least expect it, there he is again. He has never tried to attack me or anything, he just stands still looking at me. Strangely, this helps calm me somewhat and eases my fear slightly. Thank God I enjoy good health and think I'll be fine. I haven't heard the voice calling me in the last few years. The only things that can be said to be wrong in my life are those lurking shadows and that very strange man. However, I must be honest, Ava is not faring well at all. She experiences the same phenomena I do, but intriguingly, she can also hear that man speaking in a very strange language. She is unable to discern what he is saying, but she definitely feels it is not something good. She is very ill. She has consulted with several priests, but not even they can bring comfort to her situation. Additionally, she began to suffer from severe bone pain. Many doctors have seen her, and while some assert that it is cancer, others believe she has nothing and that everything is in her mind. I visited her a week ago, and honestly, she does not look well at all. What worries us is that she says the last 4 times she saw that man, she managed to see his arms, and the last time she saw him, he was holding what appeared to be her wedding dress. We don't know what that means, but we are sure it doesn't bode well. She has said goodbye to me countless times. She senses that that thing will come for her on a not-too-distant day. Honestly, we are very scared. I don't know what will happen to us. I hope you can offer a prayer for us. I'm almost sure that after her, it will come for me next. However, I am fully aware that I must face the consequences. The more I reflect on my situation, the more certain I become. Despite the challenges I face, some factors support my experiences. For instance, the 3 people who left before the game started are leading prosperous lives, which gives me some hope. I've sought help and consulted with priests who assure me there's nothing to fear. However, I remain unsure about what I should do or what will happen to me. Thank you very much for listening. thank you for spending this time with us at OneDeepVoid. If tonight's story has left an impression, please remember to subscribe and like our video. Your support enables us to continue exploring and sharing these profound narratives. Take care and reflect on what we've uncovered today. Until next time.